The fourth player has been eliminated from Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World. It's time to figure out why Tony lost. Tony was one of the main people I was rooting for to somehow make it through. But he, of course, came into the season with perhaps the biggest target of anyone, having won the game twice, and even said in his final words that it's clear they're voting out the threats. While this may have been true on the other tribe, it's not the case on his own, and that wasn't really the reason he was targeted. In fact, it's almost why he was saved. A major reason Tony wasn't viewed in the same light as a golden god or a King George was that he didn't put on a show and act like them. That is primarily what drew attention and votes to them. In fact, Tony told us he's known for playing a fast and furious game, but last time he put himself in check and slowed down and he won $2 million. So that was his plan here, and I do think it was working to a significant extent. Like I said, if anything, Tony's reputation coming into the game almost saved him. It made Parvati want to protect him for now so that he could be used as a shield for her at the merge. But the problem was the women of the World Tribe had come together as an alliance, just as Tony feared, and while Parvati and Suri seemingly thought they could push the vote to go against Tommy, Cass wasn't having it, and Lisa stood with her so that they could keep their three-person international alliance together. They were at a virtual stalemate. Parvati and Suri wanted the Americans to stay strong for now. The other three wanted the same for themselves, but it was all being driven by the women debating amongst the four of themselves. And this was where the main problem was. It seems from what we saw that nobody was really talking to the men. As Tony correctly noted, if people aren't talking to you, they're talking about you. In this case, the women were indeed talking about him, but it wasn't for all of them to vote him out. There was a broken line of communication. Parvati and Suri really should have kept Tony in the loop so he wouldn't get paranoid about them. At one point, Suri even seemed surprised that Parvati hadn't told him something about the plan. Because of that, he felt like they were targeting him when they were actually trying to protect him, and he went into Hail Mary mode. At Tribal Council, he pretended to have an idol in his immunity sock, and also started accusing Parvati of finding the key, which he was right about. But the problem was, Parvati had immunity, so the best he could do was tell people to split up her and Suri, while nobody had any real reason to want Suri gone. And was anybody really going to buy the idea of him having an idol? No, especially when Cass knew that she had the one from camp. Parvati and Suri knew they could grab one at the podium for Suri if he actually did play one. The only people actually in danger were Lisa and Tommy. And if there had been a tie, the women would have easily voted out Tommy at that point. So even if his idol had been real, there was no reason for them to care. But the main point is Tony accidentally made it easy for Parvati and Suri. Or rather for Cass and Lisa to get them fully on board if they weren't already before Tribal Council began. Was it going to be him anyway? Maybe. I'd even go so far as to say probably. But he ensured it by launching an attack against a person nobody could vote for. Tony wasn't voted out for being a threat due to his previous gameplay. He was a threat to the overlapping international and women's alliances, while his American alliance was not as solid, and he blew it apart completely. And that is why Tony lost. Be sure to subscribe for upcoming mini WhyXLosts all season long, and watch for separate short videos with my thoughts on some of the more interesting or funny parts of the game, plus, of course, lots of Big Brother 27 content.